Did you know that the name Genghis Khan still sends shivers down the spine of many, even after 800 years? This notorious figure, often labeled a brutal conqueror, carries a weight of fear and respect that has echoed through history. But what makes Genghis Khan a legendary figure beyond just his conquests? Today, we're going to explore the complex life of Genghis Khan, starting with the legend itself. Genghis Khan was not born into greatness. He began life in the harsh Mongolian steppes, facing numerous challenges. His childhood was marked by hardship and struggle, including the abduction of his wife and the murder of his father. These early experiences forged a man who would eventually unite the fragmented Mongolian tribes into a formidable empire. Imagine being a young boy in a brutal world where every day is a fight for survival. This background shaped not just his character, but his destiny as a leader. Many view him simply as a ruthless warrior, but the reality is more nuanced. While Genghis Khan is often depicted as a bloodthirsty conqueror, his leadership qualities were revolutionary. He had an extraordinary ability to inspire loyalty among his followers, a skill that would prove crucial as he sought to unite the diverse tribes of Mongolia. His revolutionary approach to leadership involved promoting individuals based on merit rather than noble birth. This system not only fostered unity but also encouraged innovation and dedication among his ranks. In addition to his leadership, Genghis Khan introduced innovative military tactics that changed the face of warfare forever. His armies were mobile and adaptable, utilizing horses for rapid movement across vast distances. They perfected the art of feigned retreat, luring enemies into traps. This strategy would become a hallmark of Mongolian warfare and a lesson studied by military leaders for centuries. Can you imagine the surprise of enemies who thought they had victory within their grasp, only to be outmaneuvered by a clever strategy? But Genghis Khan's legacy is not solely about warfare and conquest. He played a pivotal role in promoting trade across Asia. The Pax Mongolica, or Mongolian peace, facilitated safe passage along trade routes like the Silk Road, connecting east and west. This era of stability allowed for an unprecedented exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures. Picture bustling markets filled with silks from China, spices from India, and innovations from Persia, all thanks to the empire Genghis Khan built. It's fascinating to think how one man's vision transformed the economic landscape of an entire continent. As we dive deeper into the story of Genghis Khan, it's essential to acknowledge the often controversial aspects of his legacy. Many people think of him as a mindless barbarian, but the reality is far more complex. While his conquests resulted in the loss of countless lives, they were often strategic, aimed at creating stability in a chaotic region. His administration, for instance, was notable for its fairness and respect for artisans and merchants, who were vital to the empire's prosperity. This complexity adds depth to our understanding of why his name invokes fear even today. In summary, Genghis Khan was a multifaceted figure whose life was shaped by adversity, innovation, and an extraordinary vision for uniting diverse cultures. As we continue our exploration of his legacy, keep in mind the unexpected truths about this legendary conqueror. The more we learn, the more we realize that the name Genghis Khan embodies not just fear, but also the enduring power of leadership, unity, and cultural exchange. What truths lie behind the myths we hear about Genghis Khan? While many might picture him as a mindless barbarian, the reality is far more complex. The image of Genghis Khan as a brutal conqueror has dominated historical narratives for centuries. Yet there is much more to his story than mere violence and bloodshed. At the heart of the myth lies a critical truth. Genghis Khan's conquests were not only about expansion, they were often strategic, aimed at creating stability in a fractured world. In his time, the Mongolian tribes were divided, fighting amongst themselves and vulnerable to external threats. Genghis Khan unified these tribes, transforming them into a cohesive force that could protect its people from rival groups and foreign invaders. Imagine the chaos of constant warfare between tribes, leading to vulnerability. Genghis Khan's ambition was not simply to conquer, but to ensure safety and security for his people. A strange yet fascinating fact about Genghis Khan is that he implemented a series of laws known as the Yasa. These laws were designed to govern his empire fairly, emphasizing discipline and loyalty among his troops. Many would assume that a conqueror would rule through fear and oppression. However, Khan's approach included justice and order, seeking to maintain control through a structured society. This notion challenges the typical view of a warlord ruling by terror. In a world where laws were often non-existent, Genghis Khan's legislation was a radical departure, establishing principles that would later influence governance across vast territories. Genghis Khan is often seen as a mindless killer. However, he was also known for his respect towards artisans and merchants. He recognized that trade and craftsmanship were essential for the prosperity of his empire. He encouraged the exchange of goods and ideas, fostering a vibrant economy that connected east and west. Most people think that conquerors only plunder and destroy, but Genghis Khan's policies promoted trade and cultural exchange, making him a pivotal figure in history beyond mere conquest. Can you believe that the Mongol Empire is credited with paving the way for the Renaissance in Europe by facilitating the exchange of knowledge and technology? Understanding these realities shifts the narrative around his fearsome reputation. It challenges us to reconsider our definitions of strength and leadership. While many portray him as a villain, Genghis Khan can be viewed as a complex leader who navigated the challenges of his time with a unique blend of ferocity and intelligence. The legacy of Genghis Khan remains a hotly debated topic among historians. Some argue that his empire's brutality in its expansion left scars that linger to this day, while others highlight his role in uniting cultures and fostering trade. It's controversial to suggest that a figure often viewed as a monster could have also been a catalyst for positive change, yet historical analysis supports this duality. One lesser-known fact about Genghis Khan that might surprise you is that he promoted religious tolerance within his empire. He allowed various faiths to coexist, understanding that a unified empire would be stronger if its people were free to worship without fear. This progressive attitude towards religion was unusual for his time and showcased his understanding of human nature and governance. Most people think that conquerors imposed their beliefs on others, but Genghis Khan's policies demonstrated an unusual level of respect for cultural diversity. In summary, the myths surrounding Genghis Khan often overshadow the reality of his life and legacy. He was more than just a conqueror. He was a strategic leader who transformed a fragmented society into a powerful empire. As we continue to explore the complexities of his character, we gain insights not just into his life, but into the broader themes of leadership, unity, and the potential for change even in the darkest of times. The story of Genghis Khan is one of ambition, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of stability in a chaotic world, challenging us to rethink what we believe about history and the figures who shape it. Did Genghis Khan use fear strategically? And if so, how? The answer is yes, and the implications of his use of fear as a tool of power are both profound and complex. To grasp this, we need to delve into the strategies he employed to maintain control and ensure the stability of his vast empire. From the outset, Genghis Khan recognized that instilling fear in his enemies was crucial for preventing rebellion and maintaining order among his own ranks. Unlike many leaders who ruled through brute force alone, Khan understood the psychological impact of fear and used it to create a formidable reputation. By projecting an image of invincibility and ruthlessness, he discouraged potential adversaries from challenging him. Imagine being a rival chieftain contemplating rebellion, only to hear tales of Genghis Khan's swift and merciless reprisals. The fear of facing such consequences often kept enemies at bay, allowing him to focus on consolidating his power rather than constantly quelling uprisings. Curious fact to consider is that, despite his reputation for brutality, Genghis Khan also offered protection and mercy to those who surrendered. Many people think that conquerors only bring destruction, but Khan's approach was strategic. He would often grant safe passage to defeated enemies who agreed to accept his rule, thus transforming potential adversaries into allies. This not only minimized bloodshed, but also helped to integrate conquered peoples into his growing empire. The idea that a conqueror could be both feared and respected is a complex narrative that challenges traditional views of leadership. Interestingly, Genghis Khan's psychological strategies changed how warfare was conducted. Rather than relying solely on overwhelming force, he blended tactics with a keen understanding of human behavior. He employed deception, such as feigned retreats, to lure enemies into traps. These tactics not only showcased his military ingenuity, but also reinforced the fear surrounding his campaigns. When an enemy believed they were on the verge of victory, only to be outmaneuvered, the psychological toll could be devastating. It raises an important question. How does fear influence the conduct of warfare and the behavior of leaders? The use of fear also raises broader questions about leadership and control throughout history. Most leaders strive for loyalty and respect, but Khan's tactics suggest a more complicated relationship between fear and authority. While some may argue that fear is a necessary tool for maintaining order, others contend that it breeds resentment and rebellion in the long run. The controversial aspect of Genghis Khan's approach lies in its effectiveness. Did his use of fear ultimately strengthen his rule or sow the seeds of future conflict? A rare fact that adds another layer to this discussion is that Genghis Khan implemented a system of espionage to gather intelligence on his enemies and potential threats. This was not just about military might, it was about being several steps ahead. By knowing what his adversaries were planning, he could effectively counter their moves and maintain the upper hand. Time without modern technology, this reliance on information gathering highlights an early form of strategic planning that many successful leaders still utilize today. In conclusion, Genghis Khan's use of fear as a tool of power was both a means of control and a strategy for expansion. His reputation for ruthlessness was not just for show. It was carefully crafted to achieve specific goals. While fear allowed him to maintain order and deter potential challengers, it also poses complex questions about the nature of power and leadership. As we continue to explore the legacy of Genghis Khan, it's essential to consider how these dynamics of fear and control shape our understanding of history and influence modern leadership practices. The interplay between fear and respect remains a relevant theme, prompting us to reflect on the ways leaders navigate authority in our contemporary world. To understand this, we must delve into the sophisticated governance structures he established, which were revolutionary for his era and laid the foundation for one of the largest empires in history. Genghis Khan established a merit-based system for government roles, which was quite radical for the 13th century. Imagine living in a world where your position in society was determined not by your lineage, but by your abilities and contributions. This system allowed talented individuals to rise through the ranks, regardless of their social background. This approach empowered a diverse group of people to take on important roles in administration and military leadership, effectively harnessing the skills of the best and brightest from across his empire. While many leaders favored nepotism, Genghis Khan's meritocracy inspired loyalty and competence in his ranks, fostering a culture of achievement. One strange fact that often surprises people is that Genghis Khan's administration included an extensive network of communication. He created a system of relay stations known as the Yam, which facilitated rapid communication across vast distances. This network of mounted couriers allowed messages to travel quickly, ensuring that information and orders reached the far corners of his empire. Imagine sending a message that could cross thousands of miles in just a few days, a feat that seems almost modern. This emphasis on communication was crucial for maintaining control over such a large territory and enabled efficient governance. Many might think that a conqueror's focus would solely be on military prowess, but Genghis Khan understood the importance of trade and commerce in sustaining his empire. His laws actively promoted economic activity, allowing for the flourishing of trade routes like the Silk Road. He granted merchants protections, ensuring that they could travel safely and conduct business. This trade not only enriched the empire, but also facilitated cultural exchanges, enabling different civilizations to share ideas, art, and technology. The irony here is that while Genghis Khan is often painted as a destroyer, his policies were instrumental in creating a vibrant economy that benefited a vast array of people. The controversial aspect of Genghis Khan's administrative practices lies in the balance he struck between power and governance. Most leaders tend to rule through fear and oppression. However, Khan's laws emphasized discipline and loyalty among his troops and subjects. He established a code of conduct that governed the behavior of his warriors, which included respect for prisoners and fair treatment of conquered peoples. This approach not only helped maintain order, but also encouraged a sense of justice that resonated with those under his rule. Some may argue that a leader cannot be effective without instilling fear, but Khan's success challenges this notion, suggesting that respect and loyalty can yield just as powerful results. Another unique insight into his administration is the emphasis he placed on religious tolerance. Genghis Khan allowed various religions to coexist within his empire, a practice not common among many rulers of his time. By respecting different beliefs, he united people from diverse backgrounds and created a sense of community. This approach fostered goodwill and loyalty among conquered peoples, proving that a ruler's strength could be enhanced by inclusivity rather than exclusion. A lesser-known fact that highlights the sophistication of Genghis Khan's governance is his implementation of a legal code that ensured fairness and accountability. His laws, often referred to as the Yasa, were strict but designed to promote justice and order. They covered various aspects of life, from military conduct to trade regulations. This code not only helped maintain control, but also laid the groundwork for future legal systems in many of the regions he conquered. The intriguing part of this narrative is that a leader known for his conquests was equally concerned with establishing a framework for justice, demonstrating a complex understanding of governance. In conclusion, Genghis Khan's administrative practices were not just tools for maintaining power. They were visionary strategies that propelled his empire to greatness. By establishing a merit-based system, promoting trade, emphasizing communication, and fostering inclusivity, he created an environment where diverse talents could thrive. His approach challenges the conventional view of conquerors, illustrating that effective leadership encompasses not just military might, but also wisdom, justice, and foresight. As we further explore the legacy of Genghis Khan, it becomes clear that his contributions to governance extend far beyond his time, influencing how we understand leadership and administration today. What role did Genghis Khan play in cultural exchanges? The answer to this question reveals the depth of his influence on global history, which extends far beyond his reputation as a conqueror. Genghis Khan was not just a military leader, he was a catalyst for cultural diffusion and innovation across his empire. One of the most significant aspects of Genghis Khan's rule was his encouragement of the sharing of ideas and technologies throughout his vast empire. Under his leadership, the Mongol Empire became a melting pot of cultures. Imagine a time when people from various regions, backgrounds, and beliefs came together, sharing knowledge, art, and technology without the barriers typically imposed by borders. This was the reality during Genghis Khan's reign, as he recognized that the exchange of ideas was essential for the prosperity of his empire. An interesting fact to consider is that Genghis Khan's empire facilitated the spread of important technological innovations. While many associate him with military conquest, his policies allowed for advancements in various fields, including medicine and engineering, to flourish. For instance, the introduction of gunpowder technology from China changed the dynamics of warfare, not just for the Mongols but for many future civilizations as well. This exchange highlights how Genghis Khan's rule served as a conduit for ideas that would shape the world. Many people might think that such exchanges only benefited the conquering side, but the truth is that they were mutually advantageous. Genghis Khan welcomed scholars, artisans, and merchants from different cultures, recognizing their value in enhancing his empire's strength. By integrating diverse talents, he ensured that innovations were shared and adapted across regions. The Mongol Empire became a hub of trade and learning, where knowledge flowed freely, leading to advancements that would would influence generations. This contrasts sharply with the perception of conquerors who solely impose their will. Instead, Genghis Khan cultivated an environment of collaboration and mutual growth. A rare fact that surprises many is that Genghis Khan implemented policies promoting religious tolerance within his empire. While many conquerors enforced their own beliefs, Genghis Khan allowed various religions to coexist. This approach not only reduced conflict among his subjects, but also encouraged a rich tapestry of cultural practices. Imagine a society where Buddhist monks, Muslim scholars, and Christian traders could interact without fear of persecution. This was part of the Mongol experience. The result was a vibrant exchange of ideas and customs that contributed to the empire's cultural richness. The controversial aspect of this cultural exchange lies in the narrative that often overlooks Genghis Khan's contributions beyond warfare. Histories typically focus on his military campaigns, but his role in fostering a multicultural empire is equally important. Many people today may still view him through a narrow lens of brutality, yet understanding his commitment to cultural exchange reveals a more complex legacy. His leadership illustrates that strength can manifest in ways that promote unity and understanding rather than division. As we explore further, we see how Genghis Khan's influence laid the groundwork for the Renaissance in Europe. The ideas and technologies that traveled along the Silk Road during his empire's peak would eventually reach Western Europe, sparking new ways of thinking and innovation. This connection between the East and West emphasizes the importance of Genghis Khan's reign in shaping global history, a fact that is often lost in traditional narratives. In conclusion, Genghis Khan played a pivotal role in cultural exchanges that had far-reaching impacts on the world. His encouragement of idea sharing, technological innovation, and religious tolerance helped create a dynamic and interconnected empire. Understanding this aspect of his leadership challenges us to rethink our perceptions of historical figures, recognizing that their legacies can be as much about collaboration and cultural enrichment as they are about conquest. Genghis Khan's story is a testament to the power of ideas and the potential for growth when diverse cultures come together, reminding us that history is often more complex than it appears at first glance. As we continue to explore his legacy, it becomes evident that Genghis Khan was a key player in the tapestry of human history, influencing how cultures interact and evolve even to this day. Why does Genghis Khan's legacy evoke fear even centuries later? Many modern portrayals of him emphasize brutality and conquest, often overshadowing the complexity of his character. While his name might symbolize terror for some, it also represents strategic brilliance and profound impact on history. This duality invites us to explore not just what he did, but how he did it and why it continues to resonate today. Most people think of Genghis Khan as a barbaric warlord whose raids left a trail of destruction, but the reality is that his military might was rooted in strategy and innovation. He instilled a sense of fear among his enemies, which was both a psychological and practical tool. For instance, during his campaigns, he employed tactics that focused on speed and mobility, using his cavalry effectively to outmaneuver and outsmart larger, more established armies. This ability to harness fear was not merely about intimidation. It also involved strategic concessions that offered protection to those who surrendered. A strange fact that might surprise you is that Genghis Khan often spared the lives of conquered rulers if they agreed to serve him loyally. This tactic was a way to build a network of alliances rather than leaving a wake of destruction. He understood that instilling terror could prevent rebellion and maintain order within his vast empire. It highlights a nuanced approach to power. Fear, when coupled with a semblance of respect and loyalty, can be a unifying force rather than merely a weapon of oppression. Consider this: while many historical figures are celebrated for their military conquests, Genghis Khan's legacy forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that fear can be an effective tool for governance. The Mongol Empire was able to expand rapidly not just because of its military prowess, but due to Khan's ability to manage diverse cultures and populations through strategic fear. In many cases, the Mongols became protectors of those who surrendered, promising safety in exchange for allegiance. This complexity complicates our understanding of leadership and control in history. The historical narratives surrounding Genghis Khan often focus on his violent conquests, leading to a perception that his entire rule was defined by brutality. However, many of his actions were strategic moves designed to create stability within his empire. For example, he instituted laws that governed the behavior of his warriors and provided a framework for societal order. The Yasa, a legal code attributed to him, outlined rules that promoted loyalty and discipline among his troops. It emphasized the importance of respect for prisoners and the treatment of conquered peoples, aiming for a level of order that contrasted sharply with the chaotic image often associated with conquest. This brings us to the controversial notion that fear is not inherently negative when wielded by a leader. In many cultures, the fear of a strong leader can lead to stability, while the fear of chaos can unite disparate groups. Genghis Khan's ability to instill fear in his enemies while simultaneously offering protection to his subjects demonstrates a complex understanding of human nature and governance. An intriguing and little-known fact about Genghis Khan is that his name is synonymous with strength, not just because of his military conquests, but because of the very legacy of fear he cultivated. Even in contemporary society, we can see how figures who wield power, whether political, military, or social, can evoke similar responses. The fear of losing control or falling into chaos often leads to a paradoxical reverence for those who embody strength. In conclusion, Genghis Khan's legacy of fear is a multifaceted topic that reveals the complexities of leadership. While he is often viewed through the lens of brutality, a closer examination shows that his strategies were often aimed at maintaining order and fostering loyalty. The way he balanced fear with protection invites us to reconsider our perceptions of power and governance throughout history. As we reflect on Genghis Khan's impact, we can see that his name not only evokes fear, but also represents a profound understanding of human nature and the intricate dynamics of leadership that still resonate today. How has Genghis Khan been depicted in films, books, and media? The portrayal of this iconic figure often falls into the realm of villainy, reducing a complex historical character to a mere symbol of terror. Many popular films and novels present him as a ruthless conqueror, reinforcing stereotypes without exploring the intricacies of his life and reign. But what if I told you that this one-dimensional image obscures a much richer and more nuanced narrative? Consider this. Many people are quick to label Genghis Khan a barbarian, yet the reality is that he was a leader who not only expanded his empire but also facilitated significant cultural exchanges. In Hollywood and beyond, Genghis Khan is frequently shown wielding a sword in fierce battle, with little attention paid to his role in promoting trade and cooperation among diverse peoples. This portrayal affects our understanding of history, making it easier to vilify rather than comprehend the dynamics of his rule. A strange fact to ponder is that many films often overlook Khan's efforts to establish a legal framework that governed his empire, opting instead for sensationalized narratives of violence. For example, one of the most popular films portrays him primarily as a bloodthirsty warlord, ignoring the fact that he implemented laws that protected merchants and artisans, often showing more respect for skilled individuals than many rulers of his time. This oversight simplifies a complex figure into a caricature of evil, shaping public perception in a way that neglects the true history of his governance. Moreover, the media's depiction of Genghis Khan often emphasizes his violent conquests, leading to a historical narrative that overlooks his innovative strategies and diplomatic skills. Instead of a brutal conqueror, he can also be viewed as a unifier who recognized the importance of trade routes and cultural exchanges. During his reign, the Silk Road flourished, allowing for the transfer of ideas, technologies, and goods between East and West. Controversial notion is that the very fear associated with Genghis Khan has been leveraged by storytellers to enhance drama and conflict in their narratives. Fear, as we know, sells tickets and draws viewers. By framing him as a villain, films can tap into our primal instincts, creating tension and excitement. However, this raises the question, at what cost? Cost, it seems, is a distorted understanding of history, where the complexity of Genghis Khan's character is sacrificed for the sake of entertainment. The impact of these portrayals extends beyond the screen. They shape cultural biases and reinforce negative stereotypes about the Mongols and their legacy. By depicting Genghis Khan as a singularly monstrous figure, we risk perpetuating misunderstandings about the cultural exchanges and advancements that occurred during his empire. This can lead to a broader misinterpretation of history, where nuances are lost and entire cultures are painted with a broad brush. As we explore Genghis Khan's representation in popular culture, we uncover layers of meaning that challenge the traditional narratives. His image has been used not only as a historical figure, but also as a lens through which to view contemporary issues of power, fear, and leadership. The fascination with Genghis Khan endures, and it's essential to approach his legacy with a critical eye, understanding the impact of storytelling on our perception of historical figures. An interesting and often overlooked aspect is that Genghis Khan's image is also used in various contexts beyond historical narratives. From merchandise to advertisements, his likeness has been commodified in ways that strip away the essence of who he was. This commercialization often overlooks the profound cultural exchanges that occurred during his reign, reducing him to a symbol that lacks historical accuracy. In conclusion, the depiction of Genghis Khan in popular culture serves as a reminder of how narratives shape our understanding of history. While the sensationalized portrayals may draw viewers in, they also risk oversimplifying a complex and multifaceted character. As we dissect these representations, we must strive for a more accurate and nuanced understanding of Genghis Khan, not merely as a figure of fear, but as a transformative leader who left a lasting impact on history. By doing so, we honor the complexities of his legacy and ensure that future discussions about Genghis Khan are informed, thoughtful, and reflective of the true historical context. What can modern leaders learn from Genghis Khan's strategies? When we think of Genghis Khan, images of a fearsome warrior and ruthless conqueror often come to mind, but his legacy extends far beyond military might. It offers profound lessons in leadership that resonate even today. But aside, what if we told you that Khan's ability to unite diverse groups and maintain loyalty among his followers holds valuable insights for contemporary leadership? Many people think leadership is solely about authority, but Genghis Khan's approach suggests otherwise. His ability to inspire loyalty was rooted in respect and shared purpose. One of the most fascinating aspects of Khan's leadership was his meritocratic approach. Rather than than relying solely on noble birth or connections, he appointed leaders based on their skills and talents. This focus on merit allowed him to build a strong and capable army, as well as an efficient administration. A lesser-known fact about Khan's leadership is his strategic use of fear as a tool. While this might sound controversial, it's essential to understand that fear in Khan's context was not about tyranny, but rather a means to maintain order and unity among disparate tribes. He instilled fear in his enemies while simultaneously offering protection to those who surrendered. This dual strategy is a powerful lesson. Modern leaders can use fear as a motivator, but it must be balanced with empathy and respect to foster a loyal following. An intriguing point to consider is how Genghis Khan effectively navigated conflicts and rivalries among the various tribes he conquered. Instead of obliterating potential threats, he often integrated them into his ranks, promoting a sense of belonging and shared destiny. This approach raises the question, how can contemporary leaders create inclusive environments that embrace diversity while promoting unity? Furthermore, Genghis Khan's emphasis on adaptability is a key takeaway for modern leaders. He was not just a master of direct confrontation, but also a strategic thinker who adapted his tactics to fit the situation. For instance, his famous use of feigned retreats was a brilliant strategy that turned the tables on his adversaries, demonstrating how flexibility in tactics can yield success in challenging scenarios. Leaders today can learn from this by being open to new ideas and approaches, adjusting their strategies to meet evolving challenges. Another critical insight is Khan's understanding of the importance of communication. He employed a system of messengers known as yam, which allowed for quick communication across vast distances. This innovation ensured that his commands were executed promptly and effectively, illustrating the vital role of communication in leadership. In today's fast-paced world, effective communication can make or break a leader. Yet, with all his strengths, Genghis Khan also faced significant challenges, particularly in managing the vast empire he built. The complexity of his leadership style prompts us to reflect on the pitfalls of power. Leaders today must remain vigilant against the overreach that can accompany success. Khan's empire eventually fragmented after his death, a cautionary tale about the importance of succession planning and institutional stability. Interestingly, Khan's legacy isn't solely about military conquest, it's also about cultural exchange. He encouraged trade and facilitated interactions among diverse cultures, which significantly enriched his empire. This insight challenges the notion that strong leadership is synonymous with dominance. Instead, it reveals the power of collaboration and mutual benefit, emphasizing that great leaders create opportunities for dialogue and exchange. A somewhat controversial view is that the fear associated with Genghis Khan has been exaggerated in popular culture, which often focuses on violence over diplomacy. By revisiting his strategies and impact through a nuanced lens, we can better appreciate the lessons he left behind. This perspective encourages modern leaders to see balance in their approaches, recognizing that strength and compassion can coexist. As we delve deeper into Genghis Khan's legacy, we uncover the essence of transformational leadership, one that thrives on vision, inclusivity, and adaptability. His story encourages us to rethink traditional leadership styles and embrace a more holistic approach that values collaboration and mutual respect. In summary, Genghis Khan's strategies offering valuable lessons for modern leaders. From meritocracy and adaptability to effective communication and inclusive practices, his legacy is a rich tapestry of insights that can inspire contemporary leadership. As we navigate our own challenges, reflecting on the wisdom of historical figures like Genghis Khan can provide a roadmap for creating impactful and lasting leadership in today's world. By understanding and integrating these lessons, we can foster environments that encourage growth, resilience, and unity, ultimately shaping a more equitable and effective leadership landscape. How did geography play a crucial role in Genghis Khan's conquests? When we think about military strategy, we often focus on tactics and troop movements, but the environment in which battles are fought can be equally decisive. Genghis Khan, the founder of the Mongol Empire, was a master of using geography to his advantage, and understanding this aspect of his conquests is vital to grasping his success. Many people believe that the Mongolian steppe was merely a barren landscape, but in reality, it served as the perfect backdrop for Genghis Khan's strategies. The vast steppes provided unparalleled mobility, allowing his horse-mounted armies to traverse great distances quickly. Imagine the speed of his cavalry, able to strike and retreat before enemies could react. This was not just luck, it was a calculated exploitation of their environment. The Mongolian steppes are not just wide-open spaces, they are rich with natural resources. This unique geography provided vast grazing lands for horses, which were the backbone of the Mongol military. While their armies relied on heavy infantry and fortified positions, Khan's forces moved with agility and swiftness. This approach highlights an intriguing fact. The Mongol Empire was primarily a cavalry-based army, which is quite rare in military history. It's a stark contrast to many other empires that relied heavily on static defenses. Khan's knowledge of the terrain also played a critical role in how he planned his campaigns. He was not only a warrior, but also an astute strategist who understood the lay of the land. For example, during the invasions of China, he carefully considered the best times to attack based on seasonal weather patterns. This adaptability allowed him to explore exploit weaknesses in his enemy's defenses. Did you know that during one campaign, he deliberately waited for spring floods to subside, allowing him to move his troops through previously impassable regions? This strategic timing showcases his deep understanding of both geography and enemy capabilities. In addition, Genghis Khan utilized natural features to bolster his military campaign. The mountains, rivers, and valleys of Central Asia became integral components of his strategies. For instance, the Tian Shan Mountains provided natural barriers against pursuing forces, allowing his troops to regroup and strike again from unexpected angles. This tactical use of natural features demonstrates how geography influenced not just logistics but also the psychological aspect of warfare, forcing enemies to be wary and defensive. Furthermore, Khan's success can be attributed to his ability to unify various tribes within the diverse geography of Mongolia. Each tribe had its own territory, and Khan's conquest strategy involved leveraging these geographical divisions. By defeating rival tribes and incorporating their land into the Mongol Empire, he not only expanded his territory but also created a unified military force that could effectively utilize the vast expanse of land to their advantage. This unification of diverse groups exemplifies a fascinating point. Geography can also dictate social and political dynamics within a region. A controversial perspective arises when considering how Genghis Khan's environmental strategies have often been overshadowed by his reputation for brutality. While he is frequently labeled as a savage conqueror, his profound understanding of geography and its role in warfare illustrates a level of sophistication that many overlook. This complexity challenges the narrative of blind aggression. Instead, it reveals a leader who was as much a master tactician as a ruthless warrior. And as we delve into the consequences of Khan's geographic strategies, we see how they set the foundation for the expansive Mongol Empire. By conquering vast territories and establishing trade routes across diverse landscapes, he facilitated connections between East and West. The Silk Road, which flourished under his rule, became a crucial artery for cultural exchange, allowing for the flow of goods, ideas, and innovations that shaped civilizations for centuries. One little-known fact is that the Mongol Empire's vastness facilitated not only trade, but also the exchange of technology and knowledge. For instance, the Mongols introduced Chinese gunpowder technology to Europe, which would later play a pivotal role in warfare. This exchange underscores the idea that geography does not merely define boundaries, it can also influence the course of technological and cultural advancements. In conclusion, Genghis Khan's utilization of geography was a cornerstone of his military success. His ability to navigate and exploit the landscapes of Central Asia demonstrates that true leadership often requires a comprehensive understanding of the environment in which one operates. By considering the interplay between geography and strategy, we gain valuable insights into the complexities of leadership and the factors that shape history. Genghis Khan's legacy is not just one of conquest, but also one of adaptability, innovation, and the clever use of the world around him, which continues to inspire discussions about strategy and leadership in today's dynamic environment. What principles governed Genghis Khan's rule and military campaigns? At first glance, many might assume that his success was solely due to his military might and conquest. However, underneath the surface lies a complex code of conduct that influenced every aspect of his leadership and the functioning of the Mongol Empire. Most people think of Genghis Khan as a ruthless conqueror who wielded power with an iron fist, but the reality is more nuanced. His leadership was characterized by a set of principles that emphasized loyalty, discipline, and respect. These principles not only defined the behavior of his troops, but also laid the groundwork for a relatively stable society amid the chaos of conquest. For instance, Genghis Khan implemented a code of laws known as the Yasa, which guided not only military conduct, but also the treatment of civilians and prisoners. This system ensured that even in warfare, there was a degree of order and civility. One strange fact that many find surprising is that Genghis Khan was known for his fair treatment of conquered peoples. Contrary to the stereotype of a barbaric warlord, he often spared the lives of those who surrendered and integrated them into his empire, fostering a sense of loyalty among former enemies. This approach to governance helped him maintain control over vast territories and diverse cultures. However, this reliance on loyalty was a double-edged sword. While it secured the allegiance of his troops and subjects, it also led to severe consequences for those who betrayed him. The Mongol military operated on a strict code of loyalty, and any breach was met with harsh punishment. This strict discipline instilled fear, but also encouraged a strong sense of camaraderie among his ranks. Interestingly, the Mongol army was organized in units of 10, which created a family-like atmosphere among soldiers, fostering accountability and support. Genghis Khan's commitment to loyalty extended beyond his soldiers to his administrative practices. He appointed officials based on merit rather than noble birth, which was revolutionary at the time. This meritocracy not only helped to build a competent administration, but also promoted social mobility, allowing talented individuals from various backgrounds to rise to positions of power. Such a system is often seen as a precursor to modern governance and raises a controversial point. Should leaders prioritize birthright or capability in positions of power? Genghis Khan's answer clearly favored the latter, and this approach helped him create a more effective and stable government. Another key key aspect of Genghis Khan's code was the respect he demanded for prisoners and the treatment of conquered peoples. While his campaigns were often brutal, he instructed his generals to ensure that captured soldiers were treated with dignity and that civilian populations were not indiscriminately harmed. This practice aimed to promote loyalty among those he conquered, encouraging others to surrender rather than fight, thus reducing unnecessary bloodshed. A rare fact about Genghis Khan's governance is that he actively promoted trade and commerce within his empire. He understood that economic stability was crucial for maintaining power, so he encouraged merchants and artisans to thrive. This emphasis on commerce not only benefited the empire's economy, but also facilitated cultural exchanges across the Silk Road. In doing so, Khan created an interconnected network that fostered innovation and the sharing of ideas, an unexpected legacy for a leader often depicted solely as a warlord. As we delve deeper, it becomes clear that Genghis Khan's principles were not just effective in the context of warfare, but also in shaping the long-term dynamics of the empire he built. His focus on loyalty, discipline, and respect can be seen as an early form of what we now understand as ethical leadership. This perspective challenges the common narrative that depicts him as merely a savage conqueror. Instead, it highlights the sophisticated governance strategies that contributed to the Mongol Empire's enduring legacy. However, the complexity of Genghis Khan's rule raises critical questions about the nature of power and leadership. While he undoubtedly wielded authority with a firm hand, the principles he established also suggest a leader who recognized the importance of unity and collaboration. This duality invites us to reconsider our perceptions of historical figures and the lessons they offer for contemporary leadership. In conclusion, Genghis Khan's code of conduct shaped not only the operations of his military, but also the governance of his empire. By prioritizing loyalty, merit, and respect, he forged a unique legacy that transcended mere conquest. As we reflect on his life, it becomes apparent that understanding these principles can enrich our understanding of leadership and governance in our own time, prompting us to consider how the balance of power, respect, and ethics plays out in today's world. What role did spirituality play in Genghis Khan's life and leadership? At first glance, you might think of a hardened warrior with no room for mystical beliefs. Yet, the reality reveals a man deeply influenced by spirituality, particularly a form of shamanism that intertwined with his governance and military strategies. Most people pictured Genghis Khan simply as a conqueror, a figure marked solely by his military exploits. However, spiritual beliefs significantly shaped his decisions and worldview. Genghis Khan held a belief in Tengri, the sky god of the Mongolian shamanistic tradition, which guided him throughout his life. He believed that his conquests and success were ordained by divine will, which not only instilled a sense of purpose but also justified his actions in the eyes of his followers. The perception of being chosen by the heavens lent him an aura of invincibility and inspired loyalty among his troops. One surprising fact that often goes unnoticed is how Genghis Khan's spiritual beliefs influenced his treatment of conquered peoples. While many see him as brutal, he showed respect for the religious practices of those he conquered. This tolerance fostered a sense of unity within his empire, allowing for diverse cultures to coexist. He encouraged the practice of various faiths, from Buddhism to Christianity, often seeking counsel from religious leaders. This approach is quite the opposite of what one might expect from a warlord, suggesting a leader who understood the power of belief in securing loyalty and stability within his vast empire. However, his reliance on spiritual guidance also presented challenges. The Mongolian landscape, with its harsh climates and unpredictable weather, influenced not just military campaigns but also spiritual rituals. Many of Genghis Khan's decisions were made in consultation with shamans, who played crucial roles in interpreting omens and advising on strategies. This dependence on spiritual counsel led to situations where military decisions could be influenced more by superstition than by strategy, creating potential conflicts between the mystical and the practical. An intriguing aspect of Genghis Khan's spirituality is how it intersected with his leadership style. The Mongol leader harnessed his belief in fate to rally his troops. He would often share tales of his divine mandate, motivating his soldiers with the idea that they were part of a grand destiny. This narrative not only provided a psychological boost, but also created a sense of shared purpose among his men. Surprisingly, despite his fierce reputation, he often sought to inspire rather than instill fear alone, a remarkable tactic in military leadership. The complexity of his spiritual beliefs invites us to reconsider our views on leadership. While modern leaders often emphasize rational decision-making, Genghis Khan demonstrates that spiritual conviction can also play a critical role in governance. This raises a provocative question: can faith and spirituality enhance leadership effectiveness, or do they risk leading to irrational decisions? The case of Genghis Khan suggests that a balance between belief and strategy might be key to successful leadership. A rare insight into Genghis Khan's spiritual practices involves the concept of fate. He believed that certain events were predetermined by divine forces, which shaped his view of warfare. This belief made him more adaptable, allowing him to change tactics when circumstances dictated, seeing failures not as the end but as part of a larger plan. This perspective on fate might not resonate with everyone, yet it offers a nuanced view of how leaders can cope with the unpredictability of their environment. governments. In conclusion, Genghis Khan's spirituality significantly impacted his leadership and military strategies. While he is often remembered as a brutal conqueror, understanding his spiritual beliefs reveals a more complex character who valued loyalty, adaptability, and respect for different cultures. This multifaceted view encourages us to rethink the qualities that define great leaders. As we reflect on Genghis Khan's life, we find that the intertwining of spirituality and leadership offers lessons still relevant today about the power of belief, the importance of tolerance, and the need for a unified purpose in guiding diverse peoples toward a common goal. What caused the decline of the empire that Genghis Khan built? It's easy to assume that a leader as formidable as Genghis Khan could maintain an empire indefinitely. However, the reality is much more intricate and reveals a story of ambition, overextension, and the complexities of governance. Most people think that the Mongol Empire, at its peak, was invulnerable. Yet, after Genghis Khan's death in 1227, the empire began to unravel due to a combination of internal strife and external pressures. One striking fact is that the very vastness of the empire created logistical nightmares. As it expanded, the centralized control that Genghis Khan wielded effectively became increasingly challenging to maintain. The empire spanned from Eastern Europe to Asia, which posed significant difficulties in communication and governance. The sheer size made it difficult to enforce laws and maintain order. Interestingly, Genghis Khan had a vision for a unified empire, but after his death, that vision faltered. The Mongol leaders who followed him were unable to replicate his unique leadership style. Infighting and power struggles among his descendants led to fragmented loyalties. The notion that the blood of the Khan was diluted as generations passed became a reality, with various factions vying for power. This internal discord weakened the very foundation that Genghis Khan had built. Moreover, cultural clashes within the empire further fueled its decline. The Mongol Empire was incredibly diverse, encompassing many different cultures and religions. While Genghis Khan had promoted a level of tolerance and integration, his successors struggled to maintain that delicate balance. The lack of a cohesive identity among the vast array of conquered peoples led to rebellions and resistance against Mongol rule. It's fascinating to note that in many regions, the local populations began to view Mongol rulers as oppressors rather than liberators. One particularly controversial insight is that Genghis Khan's military strategies, while initially effective, became a double-edged sword. The ferocity and brutal tactics that instilled fear in enemies were now being turned against Mongol leaders themselves. The same methods that had helped conquer vast territories fostered resentment and rebellion among those who had initially been subjugated. This complexity adds a layer of irony to his legacy as a conqueror. Fear, once a tool of unity, became a source of division. An unknown fact that often surprises people is the role of climate change in the Mongol Empire's decline. The 13th century saw significant environmental changes, including shifts in temperature and precipitation patterns. These changes affected the pastoral lifestyles of the Mongols, leading to resource scarcity and pushing them further into conflict. As grasslands diminished, so did the Mongol way of life, which relied heavily on mobility and herding. This environmental stress contributed to internal strife and made sustaining a vast empire even more challenging. Additionally, as the Mongol Empire expanded, it encountered established powers that had their own political and military structures. And the emergence of strong kingdoms in Persia posed significant challenges. The Mongols found themselves unable to maintain the same level of dominance against these organized states, which were better prepared to resist and counterattack. In conclusion, the decline of the Mongol Empire that Genghis Khan established can be attributed to a multitude of interconnected factors. The challenges of managing a vast territory, internal conflicts, cultural clashes, and external pressures from rising powers create a perfect storm leading to fragmentation. This history serves as a reminder of the fragile nature of power and control, illustrating that even the mightiest empires can fall when internal unity falters and external challenges arise. As we reflect on Genghis Khan's legacy, it becomes clear that understanding the complexities of his empire offers valuable lessons about leadership, governance, and the importance of adaptability in an ever-changing world. How did Genghis Khan shape the trajectory of future empires? It's a question that leads us to explore the far-reaching effects of his conquests and governance, which resonate through history even today. Most people think that Genghis Khan's empire was an isolated phenomenon, but the reality is that his influence laid the groundwork for a series of global developments that shaped future civilizations. Genghis Khan's military tactics were revolutionary, and they set a standard for military strategy that would be emulated by future leaders. He pioneered the use of psychological warfare, demonstrating that fear could be a powerful tool in subjugating opponents. This approach went beyond mere brutality. It was about establishing a reputation that could deter potential enemies. One fascinating aspect is how he effectively integrated various fighting techniques from conquered peoples, creating a highly adaptable and versatile military force. This adaptability in warfare influenced the tactics of subsequent leaders, from the Ottoman Empire to modern military strategists. A controversial point to consider is that while Genghis Khan is often demonized for his conquests, many of the empires that followed utilized similar tactics, yet are often portrayed trade in a more favorable light. For instance, the expansion of the Ottoman Empire and its military prowess can trace significant roots back to strategies initiated by Genghis Khan. This raises the question of how historical narratives are constructed and whose actions are deemed acceptable or unacceptable based on context and perspective. The cultural and economic systems that Genghis Khan established also played a pivotal role in influencing future empires. His promotion of the Silk Road as a trade route not only facilitated commerce between East and West, but also encouraged cultural exchanges that enriched societies. This flourishing of trade allowed future empires to thrive economically and culturally. It's remarkable to note that during Genghis Khan's rule, ideas, technologies, and even art traveled freely across vast distances, establishing a precedent for the interconnectedness that we see in today's global economy. In examining his influence on future empires, it is essential to acknowledge the establishment of a legal and administrative framework that many successors adopted. Genghis Khan implemented laws that promoted meritocracy and fairness in governance, which inspired leaders like the Mughals and Ottomans to adopt similar systems. His emphasis on loyalty and discipline among his troops ensured a stable military and administrative structure, something that later empires sought to emulate for effective governance. An often overlooked fact is that Genghis Khan's tolerance of different religions and cultures fostered an environment of coexistence that benefited trade and diplomacy. This policy of religious tolerance and cultural acceptance is a stark contrast to the violent reputation that is often attributed to him. By understanding this aspect, we can see how the Mongol Empire created a legacy of pluralism that influenced the governance of many subsequent empires, allowing for a degree of stability and cohesion among diverse populations. Moreover, Genghis Khan's innovations in warfare and governance continued to influence military leaders and political thinkers for centuries. The tactical principles he employed, such as mobility, intelligence gathering, and flexible responses to battlefield conditions, are studied in military academies worldwide today. His legacy can be traced through various military doctrines that emphasize rapid maneuverability and the integration of diverse forces. In summary, Genghis Khan's influence on future empires is profound and multifaceted. His military strategies, legal frameworks, and policies of tolerance created templates that many subsequent empires would adapt and modify to suit their needs. Understanding this legacy not only reshapes our view of Genghis Khan as a historical figure, but also highlights the complexities of leadership and governance that transcend time and geography. As we delve deeper into his impact, we can better appreciate how his actions continue to resonate in modern governance, military strategy, and cultural exchange, urging us to rethink the narratives we construct around historical figures and their legacies. Why is it important to revisit how we view Genghis Khan today? Most people think of him solely as a bloodthirsty conqueror, but the reality is that his legacy is much more complex and multifaceted than that single narrative suggests. This discrepancy invites us to challenge preconceived notions and explore the broader implications of his life and actions. Modern scholarship has revealed a more nuanced picture of Genghis Khan, one that encourages us to understand his character in the context of his time. The image of him as a ruthless barbarian is simplistic and ignores the innovative governance strategies he employed to maintain a vast empire. For instance, Genghis Khan was not just a military leader, he was also a visionary statesman who implemented laws that promoted trade, fostered cultural exchanges, and established a meritocratic administration. It's interesting to note that under his rule, the Mongol Empire was one of the most cosmopolitan societies of its time, where various religions and cultures coexisted. This perspective pushes us to reevaluate our understanding of leadership in historical contexts. A little-known fact is that Genghis Khan's legal code, known as the Yasa, was revolutionary. It emphasized principles of justice and loyalty that transcended mere military might. He established rules governing everything from military conduct to the treatment of prisoners, promoting a sense of order amidst the chaos of conquest. This legal framework allowed for a degree of stability that many contemporary empires struggle to achieve. It raises an important question: how can we apply lessons from his governance to modern-day leadership? It's also controversial to consider the impact of Genghis Khan's family and successors in shaping his legacy. Often, narratives focus on Genghis Khan alone, overlooking the contributions of his descendants, who expanded and consolidated the empire. For example, Kublai Khan, his grandson, became the first emperor of the Yuan dynasty in China, blending Mongolian and Chinese cultures and influencing the development of one of the world's great civilizations. This fact challenges the notion that Genghis Khan's impact ended with his death, illustrating that his legacy lived on through his family and their policies. Genghis Khan's image is crucial for fostering a more informed public discourse about historical figures. It invites us to challenge biases that may arise from simplistic portrayals and encourages critical thinking about the complexities of history. By understanding his story, we can better appreciate the dynamics of power, governance, and cultural exchange that resonate throughout time. In conclusion, examining Genghis Khan today allows us to recognize the intricate layers of his legacy, which include military innovation, governance, and cultural integration. It challenges us to rethink how we view leaders and their impact on history. By reflecting on his contributions contributions, we enrich our understanding of leadership in our contemporary world and the lessons we can learn from the past. As we continue this exploration, we invite you to consider, how can Genghis Khan's multifaceted legacy inspire us to rethink our own perspectives on leadership and governance today? What role did Genghis Khan's family play in maintaining his legacy? You might think of Genghis Khan as a lone warrior whose empire was built solely through his own efforts, but the reality is that his family was instrumental in sustaining and expanding his legacy long after his death. This aspect of his life reveals a rich tapestry of loyalty, power dynamics, and the surprising influence of women in his family. To begin with, Genghis Khan's descendants did not just inherit a vast empire, they actively shaped its future. His sons and grandsons, particularly Kublai Khan, played pivotal roles in maintaining and expanding the Mongol Empire. Kublai Khan established the Yuan dynasty in China, which represented a significant melding of Mongolian and Chinese cultures. This dynasty brought about unprecedented changes in governance, trade, and cultural exchange that resonated through history. Interestingly, Kublai Khan's approach to leadership emphasized the importance of integrating local customs and traditions, which helped secure the loyalty of the Chinese people, a strategy that differed from the more brutal tactics often associated with his grandfather. A surprising fact is that the women in Genghis Khan's family also held considerable power and influence, challenging the traditional narratives of historical masculinity. His daughters, for example, were not merely pawns in political alliances, but were often entrusted with significant responsibilities. They played crucial roles in diplomacy and governance, managing territories and ensuring the stability of the empire. This brings us to a controversial point. While history often highlights male leaders, the contributions of women, especially in Genghis Khan's lineage, have been overlooked, prompting us to reconsider our understanding of power dynamics in historical contexts. Understanding the family dynamics within Genghis Khan's legacy reveals more about his leadership style. His emphasis on loyalty within the family created a strong sense of unity, which was crucial for the empire's stability. This loyalty was not just a personal bond, but also a strategic necessity. It ensured that his descendants were committed to the empire's survival and growth, effectively acting as guardians of his legacy. For instance, after Genghis Khan's death, the unity among his heirs was vital in preventing fragmentation of the empire in the early years. However, this unity was also tested. Internal conflicts and power struggles emerged among his descendants, leading to divisions within the empire. This highlights a significant challenge in maintaining a vast empire built on family loyalty, the potential for rivalries and conflicts among heirs. Understanding these conflicts sheds light on the fragility of power, even within a family that seemed united under a shared legacy. Reflecting on the role of Genghis Khan's family not only enriches our understanding of his legacy, but also encourages us to examine the complexities of leadership in historical narratives. It invites us to acknowledge the contributions of all figures, regardless of gender, and to recognize that legacies are often maintained and shaped by many hands, not just those of a single leader. In conclusion, the family of Genghis Khan played an essential role in sustaining and expanding his legacy. By looking at their contributions, we gain a deeper understanding of the Mongol Empire and the intricate dynamics of power, loyalty, and influence that defined it. This exploration challenges us to rethink how we view historical figures and the roles their families play in shaping their legacies, prompting the question, how might our perceptions of history change if we included the narratives of those who supported these leaders from behind the scenes? Why is it important to study Genghis Khan in a historical context? Most people think of him merely as a ruthless conqueror whose armies swept across Asia and Europe, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. But the reality is that Genghis Khan's life and legacy offer profound insights into the dynamics of leadership, power, and governance that resonate even today. To grasp the significance of Genghis Khan, we need to consider his innovative approach to uniting the Mongolian tribes. He transformed a fragmented landscape of clans into a cohesive empire, demonstrating exceptional leadership qualities that were revolutionary for his time. His strategies were not only military, they were also political, fostering loyalty among his followers and implementing systems that promoted trade and communication across vast distances. This led to the establishment of the Silk Road, which was vital for cultural and economic exchanges that shaped the world as we know it. Interestingly, studying Genghis Khan also challenges us to rethink conventional narratives of history that often glorify Western civilization while demonizing figures from other cultures. Genghis Khan's governance style, which emphasized meritocracy and inclusivity, contradicts the image of a barbaric warlord. He implemented a legal code known as the Yasa, which set standards for behavior and governance. This complex character compels us to explore the multifaceted nature of leadership and the ethical considerations that accompany it. A strange yet thought-provoking fact is that under Genghis Khan's rule, various religious practices flourished. He promoted a policy of religious tolerance that allowed for the coexistence of multiple faiths within his empire. This aspect of his governance is often overshadowed by the violence associated with his conquests, but reveals a more nuanced understanding of his impact on society. By acknowledging these complexities, we gain insight into how fear and respect can coexist in leadership, shaping the behaviors and beliefs of those under a ruler's command. Moreover, Genghis Khan's story serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of adaptability in leadership. His ability to learn from conquered peoples and integrate their knowledge into his strategies not only facilitated military victories but also fostered cultural exchanges that enriched his empire. This lesson is especially relevant in today's globalized world, where leaders must navigate diverse cultures and perspectives to succeed. Engaging with Genghis Khan's story also invites us to critically examine the narratives we inherit about historical figures. Often, these stories are simplified to fit into neat categories of good and evil. However, understanding the historical context in which Genghis Khan operated reveals the complexities of human behavior and the myriad factors that influence leadership decisions. This critical engagement with history is vital for fostering informed public discourse and encouraging nuanced discussions about figures who have shaped our world. In conclusion, studying Genghis Khan in a historical context is essential for understanding the intricate dynamics of power, leadership, and cultural exchange. By recognizing his contributions and the lessons we can draw from them, we can develop a richer, more nuanced perspective on history. This exploration not only reshapes how we view Genghis Khan, but also challenges us to consider the broader implications of leadership in our contemporary world. Understanding his legacy encourages us to think critically about our own leaders and the values they embody, pushing us to demand more ethical, inclusive, and adaptable governance. How does Genghis Khan's legacy impact us in the modern world? It's fascinating to think that the name of a figure from over 8 centuries ago continues to provoke thought, fear, and admiration. Most people think of Genghis Khan as merely a brutal conqueror, a warlord who decimated cities and instilled terror in his enemies. But the reality is far more complex. His life and actions not only shape the course of history, but also provide valuable lessons that resonate today. One of the key discussions around Genghis Khan's legacy is about leadership and ethical power. He ruled with a blend of fear and respect, a dynamic that is often scrutinized in modern governance. The way he united the Mongolian tribes through innovative strategies, tolerance, and mutual respect for diverse cultures presents a blueprint for leaders today. This approach challenges the simplistic notion that power must always be maintained through brutality. It encourages us to think critically about what effective leadership truly entails, balancing authority with respect and understanding. An intriguing fact is that under Genghis Khan's rule, religious tolerance flourished, allowing various beliefs to coexist. This is in stark contrast to the common portrayal of him as a barbaric despot. By promoting coexistence and understanding among different faiths, he laid a foundation for cultural exchange that would last for centuries. This aspect of his leadership reminds us that history is often written by those who dominate narratives, and it pushes us to reconsider the oversimplified views of historical figures. Furthermore, Genghis Khan's legacy continues to inspire discussions about the role of fear in leadership. He expertly utilized fear as a tool not only to conquer but also to maintain order within his empire. However, he balanced this fear with protections for those who surrendered. This duality presents a complex picture of leadership, where fear does not solely equate to oppression. Leaders today can learn from this approach, recognizing that instilling a sense of safety and stability can often yield more loyalty than tyranny. It's also vital to acknowledge that Genghis Khan's influence transcended mere conquest. His establishment of trade routes and the promotion of commerce under the Mongol Empire had long-lasting effects on global trade. This interconnectedness laid the groundwork for the modern economy. As we navigate a globalized world today, understanding the origins of these trade routes and their impact can help us appreciate the interconnectedness of cultures and economies. But how do we reconcile these lessons with the dark aspects of his rule? This tension in Genghis Khan's legacy offers a fertile ground for dialogue about morality and leadership. Can a leader be both a unifier and a conqueror? How do we define the ethics of power in different contexts? These questions remain relevant as we face leaders today who wield power in ways that can simultaneously inspire and terrify. As we engage with Genghis Khan's story, it becomes increasingly clear that historical narratives are not static. They evolve as we seek to understand the complexities of human nature, power dynamics, and cultural exchange. By studying figures like Genghis Khan, we challenge our own biases and expand our understanding of history. In conclusion, Genghis Khan's legacy is not just a relic of the past. It continues to shape discussions about leadership, ethics, and cultural interconnectedness in our modern world. Engaging with his story allows us to critically reflect on the principles that govern power and influence, encouraging a deeper exploration of our own societal structures. As we learn from history, we can better navigate the complexities of contemporary leadership and foster a world that values respect, tolerance, and mutual growth. If you enjoyed this epic journey, please subscribe to our channel for more thrilling historical tales. Don't miss out on new videos. Hit the notification bell to stay updated.